An old video has come out revealing James Talarico's ties to the radical environmental movement, even as he tries to reinvent himself. This is Friday, June 19th, 2026.
Texas Scorecard presents the day's first news for the Lone Star State. The Texas Minute, with your host, Michael Quinn Sullivan.
Thanks for starting the end of this week with the Texas Minute. The Republican Party of Texas has announced the 8 legislative priorities selected by convention delegates last weekend. Learn more about those coming up. A newly surfaced video shows Democrat U.S. Senate candidate James Talarico welcoming a climate activist organization to Texas and praising its work opposing the oil and gas industry. The tone of the January 2024 video stands in stark contrast with his campaign's new efforts to portray him as a longtime supporter of the state's energy industry. In the video, Talarico thanks the radical left-wing group Third Act for coming to Texas and said he looked forward to working alongside the organization. Third Act has called for stopping the expansion of oil and gas infrastructure, including pipelines and liquefied natural gas terminals. The far-left extremist organization has drawn attention for staging what it calls die-in protests outside banks as part of a campaign targeting financing for oil and gas projects. Talarico authored European-style legislation in 2021 that would have required Texas to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by more than 90% below 1990 levels by 2050. He also pushed for climate indoctrination materials to be included in public schools, and of course, who can forget in 2022 when Talarico announced that his campaign would adopt a vegan diet for environmental reasons. Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, alleging that the organization is intentionally deceiving parents in the promotion of gender mutilation procedures for children. Joining Paxton in the lawsuit are the Federal Trade Commission and the Attorneys General of Alaska, Iowa, and Nebraska. Their lawsuit asserts that WPATH marketed its treatment guidelines as being grounded in strong scientific backing, despite no evidence supporting that claim. The entity is alleged to have failed to provide parents with information about the significant risks and lifelong side effects associated with the drugs, surgeries, and other procedures being performed on minors. Although WPATH is structured as a nonprofit, the complaint alleges it functions as a trade organization for its members' financial benefit. Signaling where grassroots activists want lawmakers to focus efforts in the next session, the Republican Party of Texas announced yesterday the 8 legislative priorities chosen by delegates to last week's state convention. The GOP's legislative priorities going into 2027 include securing elections, blocking Sharia, banning taxpayer-funded lobbying, and strengthening border enforcement, among other things. Each of the top-line priorities has substantial subsections. For example, secure Texas elections includes language dealing with voter registration systems, as well as closing the GOP primary to Democrat interference. The Texas Minute will be right back.
News and analysis on what's happening in Texas. End your day with daily headlines from Texas Scorecard. Every day at 5 p.m., join me, Brandon Waltons, as we recap the biggest stories of the day and talk about why they matter to you. From the state capitol to town hall, there's no shortage of events happening. Keep up with it all. Watch and subscribe to Daily Headlines from Texas Scorecard.
Texas A&M's Rellis campus in Brazos County is set to become home to a new nuclear reactor as part of the nation's nuclear energy research and development program. The university system has signed a deal with Terrestrial Energy Incorporated, giving the company control over approximately 77 acres to test and evaluate an integral molten salt reactor. Unlike conventional nuclear reactors that use solid uranium pellets, IMSRs use liquid uranium fluoride dissolved in other fluoride salts, which act as its own coolant. As a result, the system is incredibly low pressure and reportedly safer than normal fission reactors. This is just the latest nuclear project at RELIS. Texas A&M has signed several other agreements with nuclear energy companies to bring reactors to RELIS. Initial projects could be completed within 5 years. Go ahead, make your jokes, but just remember that the Aggies are a nuclear power. You can find details on all the stories mentioned today and keep up with the latest news by visiting TexasScorecard.com. This edition of the Texas Minute was produced by Nick Shepard and based on the original reporting of Brandon Waltons, Mary Berg, Sidney Henry, and Grant Hawk. I look forward to seeing you out around the Lone Star State. Now, go close out the week strong.